Let's bring in Gerard Baker, editor-at-large for the Wall Street Journal and a Fox News contributor, and Antjuan Seawright, Blueprint Strategy founder and CEO. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. Gerry, let me start with you. This is just coming in from the Cook Political Report. They have just moved the Pennsylvania Senate race, that is Casey and McCormick, to toss-up from leans Democrat. Nebraska's Senate has moved to lean Republican. Give me a sense of what you're feeling as we are 15 days out right now.
Yeah, look, I think that Pennsylvania number from the Cook Report is very significant. It had been Bob Casey, the incumbent Democrat, has been leading in all of the polls there. I don't think it's been all the polls since for the last 2 or 3 months since Dave McCormick, the Republican, got the Republican nomination. He's been behind in the polls, but he's been closing the gap. And I think it fits in with that larger picture that you're seeing, Martha, of concerns from the Democrats coming out of Pennsylvania. You hear it all the time. I've spoken to Democratic people involved in the campaign in Pennsylvania, and they are very nervous. They are concerned that the number of people who came out, remember, that's a state that Trump won in 2016, Biden won in 2020 on a huge turnout. They're worried about some of those Biden supporters not coming out to vote, significant numbers of them not coming out to vote for Harris in 2016, in 2024, and some of them voting for Trump. Pennsylvania's key, obviously, in both the Senate and the presidential race. So I'm not surprised at all. It fits in with that broader picture that we've seen of small, not dramatic, but small, steady, significant shifts towards Donald Trump in almost all of these key swing states. Yeah. Again, it's on a knife edge. No one would make any predictions, but that is the message that we're hearing from both campaigns, right?
Exactly. And I think the message is for both campaigns to not feel that this is outside of the margin of error, but it is very clear when you look at the trends that it has been trending slightly towards Trump in the recent past several days. Antjuan, let me bring you in. This is some of the media reaction to former President Trump's visit and work shift at the fry station at McDonald's over the weekend. Watch this.
Like, some politicians go and they try to dress up as somebody they're not. He's still got the red tie. He's still so clearly himself. And I think this was an unbelievably smart move.
There's no logic to it. It's a stunt. He has not put forth an economic agenda. He, as you know, appears to be not well.
The overwhelming response to this, Antjuan, except for Barbara Lee, I guess, and some other folks, was that this was a very authentic moment on the campaign trail. It's hard to produce those, but to see the former president, waving at folks out the window and chatting with them, we're going to talk to one of them in just a moment. Was that a good move strategically, do you think?
I think that was certainly entertainment for a certain audience in this country, primarily the Trump base. We know the intent around his showing up at a McDonald's that was closed on a normal day. And so
well, you couldn't expect, Antjuan, that someone who has had 2 assassination attempts, the former president of the United States, is just going to stroll in and they're not going to have to control the parameters of it a little bit. But he was interacting with those folks who were coming through.
Well, Martha, the former president has gone to other, what we call OTRs in politics, where there has been regular people, where the examples have not been staged. And so, quite frankly, him showing up at McDonald's and not giving support for increasing the minimum wage when it was asked from the reporter speaks to everything about his lack of depth and width from an economic bill of health and how he wants to enhance the economic mobility of everyday Americans, including those who work at McDonald's.
All right.
But all in all,
I'm a little short on time, and I know we took a lot of time laying that out, but Gerry, I want to give you a chance to respond to Antjuan on that one. Go ahead.
Well, look, whether it was authentic or not, there's a wonderful line that somebody once had about Hollywood. The key to success in Hollywood is authenticity. And they said, I mean, if you can fake that, you can succeed. You've got it made. Look, it was a very effective measure. I mean, first of all, accusing him of being a stunt, doing a stunt. Wow, politicians doing stunts? Who ever heard of that? That never happened before.
If Kamala Harris did it, how would you feel?
You know what? Here's the thing. You know what? It actually doesn't matter what, political pundits or writers think. What matters is how the American public actually respond to it. And I think that the response was very strong in terms of it feeling like an authentic moment, which is very, very tough to do on the campaign trail.
And I think it comes across. Trump does have an ability to do that frankly, Kamala Harris doesn't. He has an ability to connect with people. He does things that, that I think a lot of people in the political class or in the kind of elite classes just see as a little bit kind of beneath them, really. Trump never sees anybody as beneath him in that way. And he's very, very good at looking like that and pulling that off.
All right, guys.
Well, Robert, you have to say what policy agenda that speaks to everyday Americans that the former president has put forth.
It doesn't matter what any of us think about the agenda. What matters is how people take away from it. And that is the question for Gerry Baker. Oh, sorry.
Had she gone to a McDonald's and did the same thing, we would have been hearing it from months and days.
Well, it depends on whether or not. Okay,
authentic.
stop yelling. Stop yelling. Thank you. It depends on whether or not people thought it felt real and authentic to them and what the exchange was. So you know what we're going to find out right now from somebody who was there, and we'll get her opinion on it. Gerry Baker, thank you very much. Antjuan Seawright, thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.